welcome back to the Global Focus series. I'm Vatsan Jatilaka from the Department of Social Sciences. So, today we will be talking about one of the most crucial aspects in the current affairs matters and also a crucial matter to the current geopolitics in this world. As I'm going to explain about nationalism, what is nationalism? What are the aspects of it and how does it affect countries' governance, state politics, state affairs and cultural evaluation or current affairs matters? Why nationalism matters in this current world? So based on what I said, nationalism actually plays a crucial role in terms of a state, of how a state runs, of how a country governs itself, and how the people of those countries and states react to those particular elements. So what is nationalism? Basically, nationalism highlights the importance of a country's unique culture, interests and its heritage, which highlights and prioritizes its importance more than anything else. For example, let's just say there are countries that have their own unique culture, their own unique religion, their own unique interests. They prioritize those aspects more than anything else when it comes to national politics or domestic politics. So, based on those aspects, basically the country prioritizes its interest in more than any other governing body or international body. It strengthens its sovereign rights. That's what nationalism does to a country. It makes sure the country focuses on its own interests and its own specific aspects rather than being governed or being influenced by other interests or maybe other international governing bodies. So let's just take an example. The country Sri Lanka itself. When it comes to nationalism in Sri Lanka, basically Sri Lanka, rather than prioritizing on interest on international governing bodies such as the UN, South Asian Regional Cooperation or whatever international body, Sri Lanka will always prioritize its interest because it's more into a nationalist leaning policy. So that's what nationalism does to a country. Now, breaking down nationalism, there are two types of nationalism that also needs to be highlighted here, which will be important to the upcoming Global Focus series as well. So we have two types of nationalism that are mainly important and that are need to be investigated. One is ethnic nationalism. The other one is civic nationalism. Ethnic nationalism, which is more commonly based in nationalism today, is more focused on race, religion, a particular cultural identity, that it focuses more than anything else on those aspects. That is ethnic nationalism. Civic nationalism, on the other hand, focuses on ideas, values and beliefs rather than a particular race, religion or whatever. It's more, so comparatively, ethnic nationalism is more exclusive. It's more very exclusive, but civic nationalism is more inclusive. That's how you define nationalism into two. So now, let's just dive in further. Why ethnic nationalism and civic nationalism is important to talk about in these coming days, particularly within our series. So, coming back to the key point, nationalism. Why nationalism is important to talk in the current affairs? Well, because if you take out the elections that happened in the last couple of years, particularly the United States presidential election and the Japanese general election and the prime minister election and then Europe's election, and we see on other countries' elections, we see a surge of nationalist parties. They may be far right, center right or alternative right parties. So why do we now, when I talk about this term right, R-I-G-H-T, it is also very important to talk, because we have, when we talk about right-wing parties, there are many right-wing parties that are more into the civic nationalism or into ethnic nationalism. We will be talking those in the coming days, but for now we have to stick to the idea of why these kind of far-right parties, or why nationalism has sprung. First and foremost, the key cause of reasoning is the economic activity in nationalism. When we talk about particularly Europe or the US, why do people tend to vote for the nationalist policies? Why there is a sudden surge of nationalism? Well, mostly nationalism tackles on economic issues. This can be job opportunities for natives, job opportunities for strictly for country citizens, rather than excluding immigrant workers, exempting immigrant workers, securing domestic jobs. So these are all focused on more into the country itself rather than into the out itself. Let's just take a context. Now let's take, for example, country A. Now the workers in country A really wants to, there is unemployment in country A, but there is also job opportunities. But for some reason, country A is planning to open those job opportunities for country B, C, D, E workers rather than country A workers. So the workers in country A will start to feel like they are insecure, they are threatened. Their job opportunities are going for other immigrants, not for the citizens itself, not for the country citizens itself. Then they turn to be nationalists. They say these jobs are for country A citizens, not for any other immigrants or whatever. So that's what an economic activity derives in terms of surging nationalism, in terms of popularizing nationalism. This can be job opportunities, this can be businesses, this can be welfare benefits. For example, let's just say country B, they tax its citizens but within that taxation, those welfare systems that are being pumped, that are being sourced by those taxes are open to immigrants who do not also, some who might pay taxes, who do not pay taxes, where those citizens, the natives of that country will feel frustrated that their tax money are going to immigrant workers. So these are, these are the ones that main drives towards nationalism in terms of economic activity. So based on that, second comes immigration and demography. Let's just say now country A citizen is a very homogeneous society. They have the same culture, same value, same tradition and same beliefs. But immigrants come with their own traditions and beliefs, right? Because they are from another particular country. When there is a surge of immigrants towards that particular region, they might also show their cultural beliefs and heritage, which inevitably leads to their own heritage beliefs and sharing their heritage within that particular community. And the natives of that country will either feel joyful or they will be more open to it, but some may feel like they are threatened, like their heritage and values being threatened by another invasive culture. So that's where demographics and immigration also affects, where people tend to be more nationalistic. That's why it's a very, like a double-edged sword. Some might feel it's more okay, some might feel it's an open approach, like they need to open up their cultural understanding, but while others will feel this culture is there to invade their culture, which causes them to move towards a nationalist sentiment. So, and the other one is, which is more into nationalism in governance, is the mistrust or lack of transparency attitude towards the international bodies. For example, let's just say there's a particular international organization, European Union for example. The countries within the European Union, especially Hungary, Slovakia, Slovenia, all these countries, they might feel like European Union, their international government, body, their affiliated body is kind of not aligning with the interest of the country itself. And then they will have mistrust, they will start opposing, which causes them to take more nationalistic approaches. So that's like this last, the last phase of nationalism, where the nationalism affects in governance. because the people have the same sentiment, people show that sentiment towards the political system, and that political system leads to governance, where the sentiment arises and arouses within the governance, which causes them to take actions towards nationalism. So that's how the nationalism evolves. And talking about real world examples, which we will go into further detail, like I said previously, the US presidential election in 2025, where President Donald J. Trump got elected by beating former Vice President Kamala Harris, a Democrat nominee. President Trump was actually a Republican candidate. He was based on his voter base, particularly based on Make America Great Again. They have this sentiment towards like their job opportunities have been threatened, illegal immigration was on the rise, there was plenty of illegal immigration happening in the US, and the people was naturally looking for an option to elect their interests. So that's why President Trump won. And what President Trump was focusing on America first, rather than putting his country's interest above anything else. That's caused a nationalist shift. And that's one particular reason why people have elected him, based on their concerns. So we see a nationalist concern arising in society, and that reflects on governance. And then we have UK. Take example, previous years ago when the United Kingdom left European Union, Brexit. Why is that? Because they felt that their country's interests and objectives do not align with the European Union, causing them to leave. And now we see the Reform Party, the new political party, beating all the traditional political parties like the Conservative Party and the Labour Party in the UK. The Reform Party is very pro-nationalism, and they are surging in the polls. Why? Because the British people have fairer sentiments towards nationalism. And then we see countries like Hungary, and then we see particular countries like Germany, which are very pro-liberal countries. These countries, this particularly Germany, the Alternative for Deutschland party, it's a new right-wing party focused on immigration issues, very nationalistic party. They are surging on the polls because the people are resenting towards the sentiments, and it's completely as a reason of their governing policies. So these are surging of right-wing parties. It's not just on the western hemisphere of the global political world. Even when you talk about the eastern hemisphere, let's talk about Asia as an example. We see Japan, the Liberal Democratic Party, LDP, elected Sanae Takeuchi, who is the first female Japanese Prime Minister. She's a pro, even within the Liberal Democratic Party, there are camps. There is the Liberal camp and the Nationalist Conservative camp. She got elected as the first female Prime Minister, but based on her gender, her core principle of getting elected because of her pro-conservative nationalism policies towards stricter immigration, towards more focus on Japanese first citizenship. And we see like the LDP is leaving the call. We will be talking about this in the coming video about how these countries will be, how their nationalistic policies are affecting this governance. But for now, I will be ending this video. Hope you have got a better clearance on how nationalism works and how nationalism affecting the societies and governance systems. Hope you have gained some insights into this, and I will be, in the coming series, we will be talking about individually countries that have been affected by nationalism and how the globe, and at the end of the series, we will be hoping to focus on how globalism is going to be affected by nationalism too. Thank you for listening, and hope you have gained some insight. Take care.